Okay, so I want you to picture this. It is February 7th, 1984,
Right.
and you are, what, 317 miles above the surface of the Earth? You're traveling at something like 17,500 miles per hour.
Mm-hmm.
You're astronaut Bruce McCandless, and you step out of the Space Shuttle Challenger.
And it's one of the most famous photos in, the history of spaceflight.
Exactly, but you're not holding on to anything. And this is the part that just, it makes my palms sweat looking at the picture. You're not tethered to the ship.
No tether, just floating. It is, when you actually stop and think about it, absolutely terrifying.
You're just a tiny white shape against a blackness that literally goes on forever.
I mean, people always talk about Neil Armstrong's small step, right? But he was on something. He had the moon under his feet.
Yeah, that was a destination.
McCandless, though.
Mm-hmm.
That was a plunge into infinity.
Yeah.
It hits on this really primal dread that we're talking about today.
And that dread is exactly where we're going. This isn't just, a deep dive on space facts. We're looking at a whole stack of material that explores what we're calling cosmic existentialism.
It's a heavy term, but it really fits. We're going to talk about why space is way, way scarier than the movies ever make it look.
We're starting with the terror, moving through how lethal our own solar system is, then getting into the great silence.
And why the universe seems so quiet and empty.
But I want to promise you, the listener, we are going to land somewhere hopeful. We're ending on one tiny photograph that changes everything.
But first, the horror.
Yes. First, the horror. Let's unpack this feeling. The research calls it astrophobia.
Right. And most people probably hear that and think, fear of aliens or asteroids, Hollywood stuff. But it's more literal. It's from the Greek. Astron, for star.
And phobos for fear.
Exactly. It's the fear of the sky itself.
Which feels so counterintuitive now, right? We look up and think it's beautiful.
We do now, yeah. But historically, not at all. The sources point out that our own language is full of this ancient fear, like the word disaster.
Oh, right. Disastron.
Bad star.
Bad star. Comets weren't cool science events. They were warnings, harbingers of doom.
The sources also mention lunacy from the full moon. We have this deep, baked-in understanding that the sky is not our home.
There's literally a moon orbiting Mars named Phobos. Fear.
Yeah.
The universe is kind of trolling us with that one.
So there's this specific type of astrophobia the sources get into that I think everyone's felt. The feeling of falling into the sky.
Yes. I think you know what I'm talking about. You lie in the grass on a clear night, you look up.
And you try to flip your perspective. You pretend the sky is the ground.
And for just a split second, your brain gets it. You're not looking up at a ceiling. You are looking down into a bottomless abyss.
And the only thing stopping you from falling forever is gravity. That's it.
That's the cosmic existentialism right there. Because out in space, there is no up or down. They're just out. And that out is unbelievably hostile to us.
Hostile is putting it mildly. The sources brought up this idea called the 5-mile limit that really stuck with me.
This blew my mind. 5 miles is nothing. That's like a quick jog.
On the ground, yeah. But go 5 miles straight up, about 8 kilometers, and you die.
Just like that.
You just run out of air. Consciousness fails. Everything we are, everything we can be, is confined to this paper-thin shell on the surface of one rock.
It really puts into perspective that Earth isn't just our home. It's this tiny, fragile lifeboat.
And even this lifeboat is trying to kill us half the time, right? With predators and volcanoes and...
Only 29% of it is land to begin with.
Exactly. But compared to the neighbors, it's paradise.
Okay. We have to do this tour of death through the solar system because it really destroys that whole we'll just move to Mars fantasy.
It's a necessary reality check. So where do we start? Mercury.
Mercury. Closest to the sun, I'm just guessing. Extreme heat.
It's worse than that. You're unconscious in 20 seconds from no air. But the temperature swing is the real killer. On the side facing the sun, it's 800 degrees Fahrenheit.
So instant incineration.
But if you try to get some shade, on the dark side, it's minus 290 degrees.
Whoa.
There's no atmosphere to spread the heat around. So it's either immediate frostbite or immediate fire. No in between.
Okay, Mercury is out. What about Venus? I always hear it called Earth's twin.
The evil twin. The description for Venus in our source was pretty violent. The air itself is 867 degrees. You'd burst into flames.
It's on the air.
But that's not even the worst part. It's the pressure.
Right, the atmospheric pressure.
It's 92 times what it is here. The analogy the source used was, it's like the Titan submersible implosion, but you're also on fire.
Oh, that's a horrific image. Imploding and burning at the same time.
That's Venus. It's a pressure cooker.
Okay, so let's move out to the one everyone pins their hopes on. Mars. Can we live there?
I mean, Mars is the best option, but that's a very, very low bar. You've got freezing temperatures, radiation, no oxygen.
But the thing people forget is the pressure, right? It's only 1% of Earth's.
And that low pressure does something truly awful to the human body. It's a thing called abulism.
That's where the liquids in your body start to boil.
Yeah. The boiling point of water drops with pressure. On Mars, the pressure is so low that the nitrogen in your blood, the water on your tongue, in your eyes, it would all start to turn into gas at your own body temperature.
Your own blood boils.
Exactly. You wouldn't like explode like in the movies, but you'd bloat up and all your internal fluids would turn to vapor.
Ow.
It's not good.
Not good at all. Okay, what about the gas giants? Jupiter, Saturn, they don't even have a surface.
Right. You just fall. And you keep falling through thicker and thicker clouds until the pressure just crushes you into some weird state of matter. You basically become part of the planet.
But the one that really got me, the one that felt like pure body horror, was the ice giants. Uranus and Neptune.
Yes. This is where it gets really strange. The temperature is around minus 371 Fahrenheit. At that point, you don't just freeze.
You vitrify.
You vitrify. It means you turn into glass.
How does that even work?
The water in your cells freezes so fast it can't form ice crystals. It just becomes this amorphous solid. You'd become a glass statue, shattered by the winds.
That is haunting. Okay, so the solar system is a death trap. But let's zoom out. The void isn't just about danger. It's about the scale and the silence.
This is where our brains just can't keep up. We talk about light speed, right? It takes light 8 minutes to get here from the sun, to leave our solar system. It takes light 8 hours.
And that's just our tiny little neighborhood.
Barely. The Milky Way galaxy is 100,000 light years across, and we're just one galaxy in this giant supercluster being pulled towards something called the Great Attractor.
We're just drifting. And in all that space, all those stars, it is dead silent.
The Great Silence. Which brings us to the Fermi paradox.
Where is everybody?
Exactly. And Arthur C. Clarke put it best. He said, 2 possibilities exist. Either we are alone in the universe or we are not. Both are equally terrifying.
Let's break that down. Why is not being alone terrifying? I think most people would be excited.
Well, if life is common but we hear nothing, that could imply something called the dark forest theory.
The idea that the universe is like a dark forest and you stay quiet because you don't want the predators to find you.
And we're just shouting, here we are, into the night with our radio signals. But it also means if life is everywhere, then we're not special. We're just, mold on a rock.
Okay, so that's a bit of an ego hit. But being alone seems worse.
It's a crushing loneliness. It means all of this is for nothing, just a huge waste of space. Or maybe, the source suggests, it's a simulation and the other galaxies only render when we look at them.
Stop, you're freaking me out. But there's a theory that tries to explain the silence, right? The great filter.
Yes. The idea that there is some evolutionary barrier that is almost impossible to get past. And the big question is that filter behind us or in front of us?
If it's behind us, that means we're the lucky ones.
It means life itself is the miracle. It took Earth 2.5 billion years to get from single cells to multicellular life. Maybe that was the filter. We won the cosmic lottery.
That's the hopeful version.
The pessimistic version is that the filter is ahead of us.
Meaning the hard part is surviving our own intelligence.
Exactly. The idea that intelligent species inevitably invent something that destroys them. Nuclear weapons, runaway AI, you name it.
The source even suggests intelligence might be a kind of cancer, a mutation that burns through its host planet too quickly.
It's a dark thought. And then there's the time factor. Civilizations might just be like fireflies blinking in and out of existence over billions of years. We just missed everybody.
We're alone in time, if not in space.
A blip in a hostile, silent, infinite void.
Okay. That was heavy. I promised we would pivot to hope, and we need it now. We have to talk about the dot.
The pale blue dot.
February 14th, 1990, Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Voyager 1 turns its camera around.
It's 6 billion kilometers away, past Neptune. It takes one last picture of home.
And when you look at the photo, it's almost nothing. It's grainy, there's a big ray of sunlight.
And in that sunbeam, there's a tiny speck of dust. Less than a single pixel.
And that's us, that's Earth.
Carl Sagan's writing on this photo. It recalibrates your whole brain. He says on that dot, everyone you love, everyone you've ever heard of, lived out their lives.
The line that always gets me is about the rivers of blood spilled by generals and emperors.
So they could become the momentary masters of a fraction of a dot.
It makes all our conflicts, our borders, our big important problems seem so Absurd.
And it highlights our isolation. Sagan says there's no hint that help is coming from somewhere else to save us from ourselves.
Which sounds scary at first, but it's actually incredibly empowering.
It is. It's the ultimate reality check. It tells us this is it. This fragile, dangerous little planet we were just complaining about.
Right.
This is the only home we'll ever have.
The horror of space is what gives Earth its value.
Exactly. If we could just hop over to another perfect planet, maybe we wouldn't take care of this one. Knowing that everything else out there is a glass statue death trap makes you really appreciate breathable air.
So we started with the untethered man in the void, and we end up back here, on the dot.
It's a journey from cosmic terror to cosmic perspective. The call of the void makes us explore, but everything we find just tells us how precious here is.
We look up to find meaning, and we find that the meaning is to look after what's down here.
To deal more kindly with one another, as Sagan said.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? Next time you look at the night sky, let yourself feel that fear, that falling sensation.
But then remember the 5-mile limit. Remember the glass storms on Neptune, and realize that you are standing on the winning ticket of the cosmos.
We're the fireflies that haven't burned out.
Not yet.
So I'll leave you with one final thought to chew on. That great filter we talked about. The one that might be ahead of us.
The one we could be racing towards.
Right. What if realizing how fragile our pale blue dot is? What if that's the test? What if that's the only way to pass the filter?
And what if the silence of the universe isn't empty? What if it's a warning from everyone who failed?
That's the question. Thanks for diving deep with us. Keep looking up.
But maybe hold on to the grass. Stay tethered.
We'll see you next time.